Let me start with something most people never want to admit. The world does not care who you are. It cares what you react to. That's it. Your outrage, your jealousy, your curiosity, your fear, your need to prove yourself, that's the fuel. And every system around you is built to harvest it. Your attention is a product. Your emotions are a product. And every time you take the bait, someone else gets paid. Think about an average day. You wake up, and before you've even taken a real breath, your phone is already whispering, "Look at this." Respond to that. Feel something now. A message that makes you anxious. A headline that makes you angry. A post that makes you feel behind. None of this is accidental. The fastest way to control a person is to keep them jumping from reaction to reaction so fast they never stop to ask, "Hold on. Who's running this? Me or them?" If you only take one thing from this section, let it be this. In the modern world, your reactions are a currency. The less you control them, the more profitable you are to everyone else. You are not just having a bad day when you spiral in the comments or blow up at work. You're bleeding power in public. You're showing the world your buttons. And once people see your buttons, they push them whenever it suits them. If Machiavelli were dropped into this century and handed a smartphone, he wouldn't be shocked by how cruel people can be. He'd be fascinated by how easy they are to predict. He'd look at a feed full of outrage and flexing and think, "These are not citizens. These are levers. You pull them, they move." That's the part that should bother you. Not that the world is manipulative. That part has always been true. What should really sting is how predictable you've been trained to be. You see it in your own life. Someone posts something that feels like a personal attack, and your chest tightens. You rehearse a reply in your head. You can feel your fingers wanting to type. You know it's a trap. You know nothing good ever comes from these little digital street fights. And yet, there you are, burning 20 minutes and a chunk of dignity because you couldn't sit on your hands. This isn't about intelligence. Smart people fall for this every day. This is about control. Who has it? Once you start looking, you'll notice reaction farms everywhere. That one friend who only reaches out to dump drama in your lap. The coworker who pokes your pride in front of others just to watch you defend yourself. The relative who knows exactly which topic will trigger you at every holiday dinner. The platforms that shove you toward the most enraging content because calm people don't scroll as long. None of this is random. It's a map of where you are easiest to move. Here's the uncomfortable truth. As long as your mood and your mouth belong to whoever provokes you, you are easy to manage. At work, that means you can be steered without ever being officially told what to do. In relationships, it means people learn how to guilt you, shame you, or flatter you into submission. Online, it means you're just another data point whose anger, envy, and distraction can be sold. This is the part of the video where some people will click away because it's simpler to believe, "I'm just emotional," than to admit, "I've been trained to bleed on command." You don't have to hate the world for this. You just have to stop pretending it's neutral. It's not. It's a marketplace. Some people are selling, some people are buying, and some people are being harvested. Every time you react automatically, you're signing a contract you didn't read. Every time you let someone drag you into a pointless argument, you are paying in energy, time, and self-respect. You walk away feeling drained and weirdly smaller, because on some level you know, they got to me. Again. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. You'll start noticing how fast people jump when you touch their pride. How easily a crowd can be steered with a little fear, a little outrage, a little flattery. You'll notice how many of your own decisions were made in a rush of feeling instead of from a place of choice. And that's the turning point. That's where the Machiavellian part begins. Not in manipulating others, but in refusing to be the easiest person in the room to provoke. From this moment forward, you can choose a different role. You can keep being raw material for other people's agendas, or you can start thinking like a ruler over one territory, yourself. That doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means your feelings stop driving the car. It means you stop giving your reactions away on demand like free samples. It means when something tries to pull you, your first question isn't, how do I clap back? It's who benefits if I move right now. The world is not going to change this setup for you. The feeds will keep screaming. The drama will keep calling your name. There will always be a new crisis, a new fight, a new invitation to bleed. That won't stop. So the only real question is, do you stay harvestable or do you become sovereign? In the next part, we're going to talk about that sovereignty, how to stop living like a loose collection of reactions and start ruling yourself like a state with real borders, real laws, and a leader that finally sits on the throne. You. If the first shock is realizing the world is farming your reactions, the second is this. Right now, there is no real government inside you. There are just competing impulses taking turns at the throne. 1 minute your anger is in charge. Then your fear takes over. Then your need for approval. Then your boredom. Different kings, same chaos. And you wonder why life feels unstable. I want you to start seeing yourself as more than a person with feelings. Think of yourself as a small state. You have territory, your time, your energy, your attention, your body, your money. You have citizens, your thoughts, habits, and emotions. You have borders, what you allow in and what you keep out. The question is not, do I have power? The question is, quote, who is ruling this place? Because if you're honest, most days it's not you. It's whatever emotion happens to be loudest. A Machiavellian mind doesn't start with, how do I control other people? It starts with, how do I stabilize my own state so no one else can easily overthrow it? That's inner sovereignty. It's the moment you stop treating your moods and urges as sacred truths and start treating them as advisors. Some of them are useful. Some of them are liars. None of them get to be king without your permission. Look at how you make decisions right now. You say yes to things because you're afraid of disappointing people. You say no to things that would help you because you're afraid of looking stupid. You stay in useless arguments because your pride can't handle losing. You check your phone in the middle of work because boredom says, I'm dying, save me. That is not a sovereign ruler. That is a hostage negotiation you keep losing. Sovereignty begins the moment you separate what I feel from what I do. You can feel disrespected and still choose not to respond. You can feel lonely and still choose not to text the person who treats you like an option. You can feel scared and still move in the direction you know is right. Inner rule doesn't mean you become numb. It means feelings stop issuing commands and start submitting suggestions. Here's a simple question that can change everything. If I were the ruler of a small country, would I allow this? Would you allow your population to be bombarded with junk information 8 hours a day? Would you let your army run in random directions every time someone insulted your flag? Would you let your treasury leak money every weekend because your citizens got bored and wanted to feel something? Of course not. Yet you allow the psychological equivalent of that every week in your own life. This is where Machiavelli becomes useful as a symbol. A prince who cannot hold his own capital city has no business planning foreign campaigns. In modern language, if you can't hold your own attention for 10 minutes without reaching for a distraction, If you can't sit through discomfort without exploding or escaping, you're not ready to play any serious game of power. You're still busy putting out fires in your own streets. Inner sovereignty is not loud. It doesn't announce itself. It shows up in small, almost invisible moments. You feel triggered and you don't reply. You feel the urge to justify yourself and you let the accusation hang in the air unanswered. You feel the pull to check your phone and you finish your task first. Nobody applauds you for these. But each one is a tiny coup where you take the throne back from whatever emotion tried to dethrone you. Most people will never do this work because there is no immediate applause for being internally governed. The world rewards reaction. It rewards spectacle. It rewards oversharing and outrage and emotional fireworks. It doesn't reward the person who quietly chooses not to be dragged. But here's the twist. Power is almost never given to the loudest one. It accumulates slowly in the person who can remain steady when everyone else is bouncing around like a pinball. So ask yourself, honestly, who is ruling you today? Is it your schedule or your impulses, your principles or your mood, your long-term strategy or your latest craving? If you don't answer that on purpose, the answer will default to whatever part of you screams the loudest. That's why your life can feel like someone keeps changing the channel without asking you. Because they are. And they are usually your own undisciplined urges. Inner sovereignty is a decision, but it's also a practice. It starts with a quiet declaration. From now on, nothing inside me gets to run this place without being questioned. Not anger, not fear, not the urge to prove yourself, not the itch to be seen. You become less interested in being comfortable and more interested in being in command. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start asking, "Does this serve the ruler or weaken him?" Once that shift happens, something interesting changes in how you see other people too. You stop being impressed by volume and speed and emotional fireworks. You start noticing who is actually in control of themselves. Those are the people you can't push around. Those are the people who can lead. And slowly, you become one of them. Not because you're colder by nature, but because you finally decided your inner kingdom was too important to be left leaderless. Now, if you are a state, and you are finally starting to take the throne inside your own life, the next question is obvious. Where are your borders leaking the most? For most people, it's not some grand betrayal. It's the simplest thing. Their own mouth, what they say, what they reveal, what they can't stop explaining. So in the next section, we're going to walk straight to the front gate of your kingdom and look at how your speech has been giving away power you didn't even know you had. If you see yourself as a state, your mouth is the main border crossing. Most people treat it like an open field. Anything comes in, anything goes out. Every irritation, every opinion, every secret. No screening, no control, no strategy. And then they wonder why people walk all over them, why their words get twisted, why they keep paying for sentences they never should have said in the first place. Let me tell you something blunt. You are not losing power because you're not smart enough. You're losing power because you won't shut up when it matters. Think about how often you volunteer information nobody asked for. In job interviews, you rush to fill the silence and start revealing weaknesses the other person hadn't even considered. On dates, you overshare your trauma before you even know if this person is safe. With friends, you tell them every detail of your plans, and later you're surprised when jealousy, sabotage, or gossip shows up. You are not unlucky. You are leaky. A Machiavellian mind treats speech like a weapon system, not a hobby. Every word is either building position or surrendering it. There is no neutral. When you answer a question, you're not just talking. You're choosing what someone else gets to know about your inner map. You're telling them what you care about, what offends you, what you're insecure about, what you're chasing. That is intelligence. People pay spies for that. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Listen to any group conversation. You'll notice there is always someone who reveals too much. They talk about their money, their fears, their relationship problems, their resentment toward their boss. It feels honest. It feels real. But to the wrong ears, it's a blueprint. You just told the room how to move you. You don't need to become paranoid. But you do need to understand something. Not everyone listening to you is listening as a friend. Some people are listening as opportunists. Some are listening as competitors. Some are just bored and excited to have new material to share when you're not around. When your mouth is wide open, you're doing their work for free. Strategic speech is not about never talking. It's about choosing what crosses the border. Ask yourself, before you speak, does this give me leverage or does this give them leverage? If it gives you nothing and gives them information they could use later, that's not being transparent. That's donating power. Think about arguments. The person who must explain, justify, and defend every little thing is always at a disadvantage. They're on their back foot, answering questions, proving, clarifying. The quieter person, the one who picks their words and refuses to be dragged into every side path, controls the frame. They decide which topics are worth addressing and which accusations are so ridiculous they don't even deserve a sentence. That's not arrogance. That's border control. Notice how uncomfortable silence feels for you right now. Someone challenges you and you feel this burning need to respond immediately, to correct them, to set the record straight. That's not strength. That's addiction. The moment you realize you don't owe everyone an explanation, your entire posture toward conflict changes. You start to see silence as a move, not a failure. There's a reason interrogators hate people who answer slowly. Pauses force them to sit with their own tactics. When you don't jump to fill the space, they have to reveal more of what they're after. They show their hand. That's exactly how you need to treat everyday conversations. You're not obligated to react on the first beat. You can breathe. You can study. You can ask yourself, what do they really want here? Before you say a single word. Here's a simple practice. Start giving shorter answers than you want to. When someone asks what you're working on, you don't need a 5-minute monologue. I'm focused on a couple of projects I care about is enough. When someone digs into your private life, you don't owe them the full documentary. I'm keeping that part of my life quiet is a complete sentence. At first, you'll feel rude. Over time, you'll realize you're just not leaking anymore. You'll also see who respects your boundaries and who gets angry when you stop oversharing. That reaction is valuable data. People who need constant access to your thoughts and feelings to feel powerful around you are not people you want holding your secrets. This isn't about faking a personality. You can be warm, funny, and charismatic while still being selective. Some of the most charming people on earth reveal almost nothing important about themselves. You feel like you know them, but what you really know is the version they chose to present. That's not manipulation. That's self-respect. Start playing with a different identity. My words are expensive. Imagine that every sentence you speak costs you something: time, energy, privacy, leverage. Would you still hand them out so freely to anyone who asks? Or would you start asking, is this worth the price? A Machiavellian understands that mystery is not about being weird or distant. It's about understanding that what you keep to yourself is as powerful as what you show. There's one more thing you need to see. Your mouth is not the source of the problem. It's just the outlet. The reason you overshare, over-explain, and overreact when you talk is because your mind is crowded and undisciplined. Thoughts are racing, emotions are stacked. You open your mouth and everything spills out. So if you really want to change what comes out of your lips, you can't stop here. In the next section, we're going to walk into the real command center, your mind. Because until you clean up the inner war room where these words are born, you'll always be fighting leaks at the gate. By now you've seen the pattern. Your mouth is just the loudspeaker. The real problem lives deeper. If your speech is the border gate, your mind is the war room. And right now, if you're honest, that war room looks less like a command center and more like a crowded marketplace where anyone can walk in and start yelling. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You sit down to work, and within 30 seconds your brain has opened 10 tabs on its own. Remember that embarrassing thing from 3 years ago? Wonder what she meant by that text. Maybe check the news. Maybe open a new video. Maybe think about how behind you are in life. None of this is deliberate. It's just noise on repeat. You're not strategizing. You're being dragged. If a real ruler ran his kingdom the way you let your mind run, he wouldn't last a week. Imagine a king who lets random peasants and foreign spies stroll into his throne room to scream opinions all day. No vetting, no security, just chaos. You would call that suicidal. But that's exactly what you do every time you let random content, random people, and random fears occupy your head without resistance. Here's the part no one wants to admit. Most of your overthinking isn't deep thinking. It's just mental fidgeting. You're not solving problems. You're replaying the same scenes, the same insults, the same what-ifs, until you're exhausted. You're burning CPU on ghosts. And then when a real decision shows up that actually matters, you're too drained to respond with any clarity. A Machiavellian thinker treats attention like an army. You don't just send it everywhere. You place it where it wins you ground. That means some ideas, some conversations, some platforms simply do not deserve troops. They don't get your mental soldiers. Not because you're avoiding reality, but because your resources are limited. And if you waste them on every little provocation, you have nothing left when the real war hits. Look at how your day actually goes. You check your phone for a second and hand your war room over to an algorithm that doesn't care about your life at all. You let headlines designed to scare you sit in your head. You let other people's opinions about politics, money, relationships, success set your emotional weather. You let strangers' highlight reels make you question your own path. Then you wonder why your mind feels like a hostile territory instead of a safe base. Thought discipline doesn't mean you stop consuming information. It means you stop letting everything in. You start operating like there is a guard at the door of your mind asking one question. Does this serve the mission? Does this video, this conversation, this thought actually make you sharper, calmer, more prepared? Or is it just noise you're calling staying informed to justify an addiction? Here's a simple, brutal exercise. Imagine your attention as a daily budget of 100 units. Every scroll, every argument in your head, every replay of a conversation, every worry about imaginary futures costs you units. At the end of the day, ask yourself, did I invest this budget or did I just spray it at whatever flashed in front of me? A Machiavellian does not spray. He allocates. You don't need a complicated system to start cleaning the war room. Start small. Choose one block of time each day, 30 minutes, an hour, where your mind is on a single task and your devices are not allowed to hijack you. No switching apps. No checking notifications. No quick peeks. You will be shocked at how loud your cravings for distraction are when you first do this. That's good. Now you're seeing the enemy. You can also quarantine certain thoughts. Not every idea that pops into your head deserves a full movie. When a familiar spiral starts, jealousy, resentment, that one scenario you've imagined 100 times. You don't have to fight it or analyze it to death. You just label it a not useful now, and you park it. If it's truly important, it will still be there when you decide to address it on purpose, not in the middle of everything else. This is where most people fail. They confuse mental chaos with passion. They think being constantly stirred up means they care. It doesn't. It just means they're easy to hijack. Calm is not the absence of thoughts. Calm is when your thoughts line up and take turns instead of screaming over each other. Calm is when you can tell one of them, "Sit down, you're not helping," and it actually listens. Think about the people you instinctively respect. They might be intense. They might be driven. But you almost never see them mentally scattered. They listen all the way through. They pause before they speak. They can sit in a conversation without reaching for their phone every 5 minutes. That's not an accident. That's a trained war room. And it's why they can see angles other people miss. Their mental troops aren't busy chasing every noise outside the walls. Of course, this level of thought discipline will feel unnatural at first. Your mind has been an open hallway for years. Anyone could walk in, old memories, new fears, the loudest online voice of the day. When you start closing doors, your own brain will rebel. It will say, "This is boring. This is restrictive. Let me scroll. Let me argue. Let me replay." That's the moment you have to decide who's in charge now. The ruler or the riot? Tell yourself this clearly. Not everything that demands my attention deserves my attention. Write it down if you need to. Repeat it whenever you feel your brain racing off. You are training your mind to take orders instead of giving them. And yes, that sounds harsh. But remember what we said earlier. If you don't run this state, someone else will. Once your war room starts to quiet down, something subtle happens. You begin to notice the gap between thoughts and feelings. You see how one tiny idea can ignite an entire emotional storm if you let it sit. You see how a single mental picture can shift your mood for hours. That's your next frontier. If thoughts are the commands, emotions are the raw energy they unleash. So in the next section, we're going to move from the war room to the weather system, your mood. Because once you understand how to stay calm inside your own head, the real power move is learning how to turn your emotions from wild storms into controlled fuel. Your mood is not just how you feel. It's a broadcast. Every room you walk into, people are reading your emotional weather, whether you notice it or not. And here's the dangerous part. The more readable you are, the easier you are to control. You've seen this in your own life. Someone knows you're quick to anger, so they poke you in front of others and sit back while you blow up and look unhinged. Someone knows you can't stand being ignored, so they go cold on purpose and you chase them, apologize, over-explain, just to get their warmth back. Someone knows a certain topic makes you insecure, so they drop one comment and your entire mood collapses for the rest of the day. That isn't random. That's a map of your emotional weak points. If Machiavelli were coaching you today, he wouldn't start with fancy tactics. He'd ask one simple question. How easy is it to make you lose your composure? Because a person whose emotional state can be flipped like a light switch is never truly in power, no matter how strong they look on paper. Let me put it plainly. As long as your mood is public property, your life is public property. Most people leak emotion constantly. Their face gives everything away. Their posture collapses when they're criticized. Their tone sharpens the second they feel disrespected. You know exactly when they're jealous, when they're hurt, when they're scared. They think they're being honest. In reality, they're handing other people a remote control with clearly labeled buttons. Emotional stillness is not about becoming a rock. It's about closing your hand around that remote and deciding, no one else pushes these buttons? Not anymore. You still feel everything. You just stop turning every feeling into a visible performance. There's a huge difference between emotion and expression. You can feel a full storm inside without letting it spill all over the room. The weak version of you explodes, sulks, snaps, withdraws dramatically. The stronger version feels the hit, takes a breath, and chooses what the outside world gets to see. Picture two people in the same situation. Both are insulted in a meeting. One instantly bristles, voice rises, face reddens, starts defending themselves, maybe even talks over others. The other person registers the insult, keeps their voice level, eyes steady, and simply says, "Noted," or lets the silence hang. Which one do you instinctively respect? Which one do you instinctively want to provoke again? Here's the twist most people never understand. Emotional stillness is destabilizing to others. When someone can't read your mood, they can't predict your next move. And when they can't predict your next move, they tread more carefully. They think twice before playing games with you, because they don't know if you'll explode, walk away, or quietly make a move they never see coming. That uncertainty gives you room. It gives you leverage. This is not about faking happiness or pretending things don't bother you. That's just another mask, and it cracks under pressure. It's about building a habit of pausing between the feeling and the display. Anger rises, you feel it in your chest. Instead of letting it hit your face and your voice right away, you give it 10 seconds. You breathe. You ask, what actually benefits me here? A reaction or a response? Those 10 seconds are where power lives. You can also decide when emotion is useful to show. Sometimes warmth is a strategy. Sometimes genuine enthusiasm builds alliances. Sometimes a tiny flash of disappointment is enough to correct someone without a single lecture. The difference is that you're choosing these reveals on purpose. You're not bleeding. You're signaling. Think of your mood as a dimmer, not a switch. Most people live at extremes, all the way on or all the way off. They're either fine or they're losing it. A Machiavellian approach is different. You can dial yourself down or up depending on what the situation calls for. You can be 100% furious inside and show the world a 20. You can be underwhelmed but offer a 60% smile because the relationship matters. You own the dial. Of course, this requires somewhere for the full emotion to go. Emotional stillness in public doesn't mean you never process anything. It means you don't process it in front of everyone like a live show. You might need a workout, a journal, a drive in silence, a trusted confidant you actually respect. The point is, you choose the arena where your emotional intensity is safe and useful. Instead of spraying it over whoever happens to be nearby, watch what happens when you start doing this. People who were used to seeing you flustered, angry, or visibly hurt will get confused. They'll try the old buttons. Same comments, same jokes, same silent treatment. But now, instead of the familiar explosion or collapse, they get nothing obvious. A calm face, a measured answer, maybe no answer. Their old script stops working. That's the moment the power dynamic quietly begins to change. You'll also feel a strange kind of strength in yourself. Not because you've stopped feeling, but because your feelings are no longer dragging you through the day. You wake up anxious and still show up as a professional. You feel irritated but don't let it spill into every interaction. You feel lonely but don't run back to people who are bad for you just to patch the hole. That's not coldness. That's adulthood with teeth. Once you see your mood as a tool, you'll start asking better questions. Does showing this emotion here help me or hurt me? Does this person deserve a front row seat to how I feel? Am I reacting for my own benefit or to give them a show? Those questions alone will stop half of your emotional leaks. And here's something most feel everything culture never tells you. Unchecked emotion is expensive. Every time you let someone ruin your day, that's hours of focus gone. Every time you spiral in jealousy or rage, that's physical energy burned. Emotional hangovers don't just cost you peace. They cost you productivity, opportunities, and often money. So as we move forward, we're going to connect the dots. Your emotions aren't just moods. They're tied directly to how you spend your three biggest armies: your money, your time, and your energy. Because the same lack of control that makes you easy to trigger also makes you easy to sell to, easy to distract, and easy to exhaust. In the next section, we'll step from the inner weather into the outer resources and see how a Machiavellian version of you would deploy those armies very differently from the person you've been so far. By now, you've seen what happens inside. Your reactions get harvested. Your mind gets hijacked. Your mood gets read like a cheap book. But there's another layer to this game, and it's brutally simple. Whoever controls where your money, your time, and your energy go controls your life. Think of those three as your armies. Not metaphorically cute, literally. They go out into the world every day and fight for you or against you. When they're well led, they build you safety, options, leverage. When they're poorly led, they come home broken and you have nothing to show for it but receipts, fatigue, and regret. Look at money first. Most people treat money like steam. It just goes. It comes in, it evaporates into food, subscription, nights out, impulsive buys, little flexes to impress people who will forget you in a week. Then they call it bad luck when they're one emergency away from disaster. It isn't all bad luck. A lot of it is undisciplined deployment. If Machiavelli were watching the average person's bank account, he wouldn't see a noble victim. He'd see a ruler who keeps sending troops into stupid skirmishes to look busy. You get a raise, and instead of fortifying your position, you expand your lifestyle. You buy more, upgrade more, commit to more monthly costs. You don't build a fortress, you build a costume. And costumes don't protect you when things go wrong. But money is just the visible part. Time and energy are bleeding out even faster. Scroll your screen time at the end of the day. How many hours did you donate to people and platforms that will never think of you again? How much focus did you spill on arguments, gossip, and content that didn't move your life 1 inch forward? Imagine all of that time as soldiers standing in formation at the start of the morning, waiting for your orders. And you sent half of them to fight comment sections and half of them to wander around in other people's lives. No wonder you feel drained all the time. You're not just tired, you're strategically bankrupt. Here's the part that stings. Most of your I wish I could dreams are not blocked by fate. They're blocked by this leak. The book you say you want to write, the skill you say you want to learn, the body you say you want to build, the business you say you want to start. It's not that you never had the resources. It's that your armies were busy fighting cheap little battles that gave you nothing back except a moment of escape. A Machiavellian approach to life looks boring on the surface. Less random eating out, fewer pointless arguments, fewer knee-jerk purchases, fewer I'll just watch one more nights. But underneath that apparent boredom, there's something terrifying building. Concentration. The concentration of cash, of focus, of physical strength, of emotional stability. That's what creates the kind of person who can move quickly when it matters, while everyone else is stuck catching up on the damage they did last month. Ask yourself some ruthless questions. If someone audited your last 30 days of spending, what story would it tell? A person building a position, or a person trying to feel better in the moment? If someone looked at your calendar and your screen time, would they see a life driven by priorities or a life driven by urges? If someone could see what actually drains your energy most days, would it be hard work or low-quality stimulation? This is where emotional control and resource control collide. You almost never waste money, time, or energy from a calm, clear state. You waste them when you're lonely, anxious, angry, bored, or trying to prove something. The same ungoverned mood that makes you snap at someone also makes you swipe your card for things you don't need, say yes to events you don't care about, and stay up until 2 a.m. Feeding addictions you'll regret in the morning, so you have a choice. You can keep living as a consumer, or you can start acting like a commander. A consumer asks, "Does this feel good right now?" A commander asks, "Does this strengthen my position?" A consumer treats money as a toy, time as something to kill, and energy as something cheap. A commander treats money as quiet power, time as a filter, and energy as sacred fuel. Start small. You don't need a perfect system. You need a different instinct. Before you tap buy, ask him, is this purchase feeding my ego or feeding my future? Before you agree to another obligation, ask, if I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? Before you dive into a distraction, ask, is this how I'd want my soldiers deployed if I knew I was being watched? You're going to feel resistance. Part of you will say, relax. Life is short. I deserve this. That voice is not always wrong, but it's also the same voice that will leave you exposed and helpless when life hits you hard. Machiavellian realism is not about never enjoying yourself. It's about refusing to indulge so much that you have no reserves when you actually need them. Here's the payoff. As you start redirecting your 3 armies, people will feel something shifting around you. You won't be as available for nonsense. You won't react to every invitation, every scheme, every emotional trap. You'll start choosing where you show up, how you show up, and how much of yourself you give. That's when the game changes. Because power isn't just what you hold inside. It's also how others experience you. And that takes us to the next level of this, other people. Now that you're beginning to govern your inner world and your resources, we have to talk about the table you sit at, your social world, your work, your relationships. In the next section, we're going to step onto the board of social chess and look at how perception, mystery, and the rooms you choose can either multiply everything you're building or slowly drain it away. You can have all the inner discipline in the world, but if you keep walking into the wrong rooms, sitting at the wrong tables, and letting the wrong people read you, you're still going to bleed power. The battlefield isn't just inside you, it's also every conversation, every group chat, every office, every friend circle you step into. Here's the mistake most people make. They think power is only about what they do. They never ask, what does my presence signal? Because whether you realize it or not, people aren't just listening to your words. They are constantly scanning your posture, your reactions, your patterns. They are asking themselves 3 quiet questions. Can I use you? Can I ignore you? Or do I need to respect you? If Machiavelli was watching your life, he wouldn't just analyze your mindset. He'd look at your environments. He'd ask, why are you sitting here? Why are you giving this group access to you? Why are you trying to prove yourself in a room that will never truly value you? A prince who chooses the wrong court will always feel like a clown, no matter how talented he is. Let's be real. In every social setting, there's a hierarchy, even if everyone pretends there isn't. At work, in friend groups, in families, online. Some people are treated as leaders, some as equals, some as entertainment, some as emotional dumping grounds. If you never think about how you're being cast in those roles, you get assigned one by default. Usually the role that fits your old, ungoverned self, the fixer, the people pleaser, the comedian, the emotional sponge. Social chess starts with one ruthless observation. You teach people how to treat you, not with a speech, but with patterns. If every time someone needs a favor, you say yes even when it drains you, you've taught them that your time is cheap. If every time someone pushes your button, you explode, you've taught them how to move you. If every time there's drama, you're the one who gets pulled in to mediate or listen for hours, you've taught them you have no real boundaries. On the other hand, look at the people who seem to command attention without begging for it. They aren't always the loudest. Often, they're the ones who speak the least, show up the least, and reveal the least. They're not mysterious because they're trying to look cool. They're mysterious because they understand a simple rule. Familiarity without respect breeds contempt. When you are too available, too explainable, too readable, people stop valuing your presence. This is where controlled mystery becomes a tool, not a gimmick. You don't need to act strange or distant. You just stop putting your entire inner life on the table. You stop narrating every thought. You stop announcing every plan. You stop explaining every no. You show up, you contribute, you observe, and then you leave some questions unanswered. That gap between what people think they know and what they can't quite figure out is where your perceived power grows. Perception also comes from consistency. If you say you have standards but always break them under pressure, people don't believe your words. They believe your history. If you claim you're focused but constantly show up drained and distracted, they see through the act. A Machiavellian doesn't rely on slogans. They rely on patterns. The pattern of you leaving when a conversation turns toxic. The pattern of you not laughing at disrespect disguised as jokes. The pattern of you refusing to be rushed into decisions. And then there's the table itself. Some rooms are designed to drain you, no matter how disciplined you are. The friends who only feel close to you when you're hurting. The group that bonds by trashing people who aren't there. The team culture that rewards burnout and punishes boundaries. No amount of inner strength will change the fact that these environments are built on dysfunction. At some point, the Machiavellian move is not to win their game, but to walk away and pick a different game. Choosing your table means asking, where does my discipline compound? Where does it actually matter? In the right rooms, your calm, your restraint, your consistency will separate you from the crowd in a good way. In the wrong rooms, it will just make you a target or an outsider. You're not required to stay where your growth is treated as a threat. This doesn't mean you cut everyone off and live in a cave. It means you become deliberate. You invest more time with people who respect your boundaries. You give less access to people who treat you as a prop in their drama. You stop chasing circles that require you to abandon your self-respect just to be included. You understand that being slightly underestimated in a new room is better than being permanently typecast in an old one. Once you start playing social chess like this, something becomes very clear. You can't rely on willpower alone. You need systems. You need quiet rules about when you answer, when you engage, where you go, and how much you give. Without those, you'll slide back into old roles the moment you're tired or emotional. So in the next section, we're going to take everything we've talked about, your reactions, your mind, your mood, your resources, your social world, and turn it into something concrete. Daily, Machiavellian discipline systems that run even when your motivation doesn't. Up to this point, everything we've talked about can sound powerful but distant. You see the value in being less reactive, less readable, less wasteful. You see the logic in guarding your mind, your mood, your money, your time. But if you stop here, it just becomes another video you liked and then forgot. The real split between people who change and people who don't is simple. One group builds systems, the other waits to feel ready. Let me be clear, you will never feel ready to become the version of you we've been talking about. Your emotions will never wake up one day and say, "Okay, we're done being comfortable. Let's become cold and disciplined now." That's not how this works. A Machiavellian mindset doesn't trust feelings. It trusts structure. Think of it like this. Your current life is already a system. It's just one you didn't design. The apps you open without thinking, the time you usually go to bed, the way you respond to messages, the places you spend money. These are all microsystems. They run automatically. They produce predictable results. If you don't like the results, the answer is not try harder. The answer is change the system. A prince who relies on motivation to defend his state will lose it the first time he wakes up tired. A prince who relies on infrastructure can be exhausted and still be protected. You need that same cold logic for yourself. Start with silence. Not mystical silence. Practical silence. Pick one small window in your day where the world doesn't get to touch you. No notifications, no conversations, no noise. It could be the first 20 minutes after you wake up or the last 20 before you sleep. During that time, you're not doom scrolling. You're not answering anyone. You're checking in with your own war room. What needs to be done today? What matters? What doesn't? You might think, 20 minutes? That can't change much. That's exactly the kind of thinking that keeps people weak. That silence is not about the minutes, it's about precedent. It's about teaching your nervous system. We don't sprint into the day reacting. We start by leading. Next, build a response delay system. Right now, your default setting is probably instant. Someone sends a message that irritates you, and your thumbs are already typing. Someone invites you to something you don't really want to do, and sure, flies out of your mouth before you've even checked your calendar. That's not kindness. That's lack of control. Set a rule: you don't respond to anything emotionally charged in the first wave. Texts, emails, calls, confrontations, if it touches your pride, your fear, your guilt, it does not get an immediate answer. You buy yourself space. You can tell people, "Let me think about that," or simply wait. You're not being flaky. You're being sovereign. Then, create spending laws, not vague goals. Laws. For example, the no purchases over X dollars without 24 hours of delay. No subscriptions added until one is canceled. No buying just because it's on sale. These seem small, but they're not. They are concrete blocks in the wall between you and impulse. Every law is you telling your future self, "I know you're going to be tempted. I'm protecting you in advance." Do the same with your time. Decide how many hours a day you're willing to give to low-quality entertainment. Not as little as possible. Give it a fixed number. 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever is honest for your life right now. Then treat it like a budget. When it's gone, it's gone. You don't keep swiping the card. This isn't about becoming a robot. It's about knowing when you've crossed from rest into self-sabotage. Information is another place you need a system. You already know that constantly consuming news, drama, and opinions makes your mind frantic. So pick windows when you're allowed to consume and windows when you're not. For example, no scrolling in the first hour of the day. No scrolling right before bed. No jumping between 5 apps while you're supposed to be working. Your brain can't be a weapon and a trash can at the same time. All of this might sound strict. Good. It should. Discipline that doesn't inconvenience you is just decoration. You think Machiavelli would look at your life and say, "Yes, keep doing whatever you feel like in the moment. I'm sure it'll work out." No. He'd tell you very clearly on if you don't build rules for yourself, someone else will. Companies, algorithms, other people's expectations, they all have systems. If you don't have your own, you will live inside theirs. Here's the part most self-help never tells you. Systems will feel unnatural at first. You will miss the rush of acting on impulse. You will miss the easy hit of saying yes to everything. You will miss the little jolt of adrenaline when you clap back immediately or buy something you can't afford. You will grieve that chaos a little. That's fine. Let it burn on the outside instead of inside your life, because quietly, something else is forming underneath. Identity. Every time you follow your own rules instead of your moods, you are voting for a new version of yourself. I am the person who doesn't answer in anger. I am the person who doesn't explain myself to anyone who demands it. I am the person who treats money, time, and energy like soldiers, not toys. Those aren't affirmations for a mirror. Those are facts proven by behavior. Give this enough time, weeks, months, not hours, and people will notice a shift before you do. They won't be able to articulate it clearly, but they'll feel it. You're less available for nonsense, less easy to bait, less quick to overshare, more deliberate, more contained, more steady. Your presence will start saying something your mouth doesn't have to, and that's where we're going next. Because when your systems are in place and your discipline stops being an act and starts being normal, you become something very rare in this loud, frantic world. A silent, grounded presence that moves through rooms differently. In the next section, we'll talk about what it actually feels like and looks like from the outside to live as someone who cannot be easily moved, bought, or rattled. There's a moment in this whole process where the work stops feeling like trying to be disciplined and starts feeling like you. You're not forcing a persona anymore. You're not acting cold. You're not pretending to be focused. You just are. And people feel it before they understand it. You'll notice it in small ways first. The same comment that used to wreck your day now barely moves the needle. The same invitation you used to accept out of guilt now gets a calm. No, I've got other priorities. The same argument you would have stayed up all night replaying now dies in one sentence or in silence. Outside, nothing looks dramatic. Inside, everything is different. You're no longer living as an exposed nerve. When you walk into a room like this, you don't need to perform. You don't need to outtalk anyone. You don't need to announce that you've changed. Your boundaries, your restraint, your decisions tell the story for you. People might not say it out loud, but you'll see it in their behavior. More careful with their words around you. Less likely to drag you into nonsense. More aware that you're not someone they can casually push around. Some will misread it. They'll say you've become distant, cold, not as fun. Let them. Most of the time, what they really mean is, I can't access you the way I used to. I can't pull you into my chaos on demand. That's not a loss. That's the price of sovereignty. You're not here to be emotionally available to every random current that passes through your life. You're here to rule your state. Others, the ones who are also tired of playing the reactive game, will find your calm magnetic. They'll gravitate toward you without even knowing why. Because real power doesn't shout. It doesn't need to. Real power is the person who can sit in the same storm everyone else is in and somehow stay clear, precise, and slow to move. That presence is rare. And in a loud world, Rare becomes valuable. This is where Machiavellian stops being a dark aesthetic and starts being a quiet standard. Not how do I manipulate people, but how do I become so internally governed that no one can use my mouth, my mind, my mood, or my money against me. You become the kind of person who could play the manipulation game if you wanted to, and chooses not to, because you don't need to. Control of yourself is enough, day to day. It won't feel like fireworks. It will feel like space. More space between what happens and how you respond. More space between what you feel and what you show. More space between urges and actions. In that space, your entire life gets redesigned. That's where better words are chosen. That's where smarter moves are made. That's where your future is quietly built. And if any part of you is thinking, can I really be that person? Remember this, you've already been trained your whole life to be reactive. You're not naturally chaotic. You've just been rehearsing the wrong role. Every time you practice restraint now, you're rehearsing a different character. Every time you hold back when you used to explode, every time you think before you spend, every time you protect your energy instead of handing it out, you're carving that new presence into yourself. One day, you'll look back and realize you don't chase as much. You don't explain as much. You don't argue as much. You decide. You observe. You move when it actually matters. And that's the point where power stops being something you want and starts being something you are. If this way of thinking is helping you step into that version of yourself, support the channel. Hit like, subscribe, and stay with me here. We're just getting started.